Hi, my name is Ian Transu, and you're watching Expat Episodes, episode 22. Today's guest, we have Emmanuel, and we're going to talk to him about why he came from France, what he's doing here, and why so long in Ostrava. But a lot of good reasons. So stick around, and we'll talk to you soon.
You know that Oreo is vegan, which not a lot of people know. Ostrava, I didn't know the name. I didn't know where it is, in which country. Is it a river? Is it a region? Is it a city? And my first reflection the second day when I went to that factory was like, oh my God, how those people can live here. Like, I would never do that, never. I'm not moving. Yes, you take your 5 best managers, their families, and you move for 1 year because you need to start the business there. And after the 10 years for that company in Karviná, there was no question anymore. I mean, for me, I'm Ostravak and use Stodolny as a good networking point. So Mondelez, I'm there 5.5 years. Leading those 3 factories, in total something like 1,500 people, but my real job is to ensure that I have the right people and that they have the right resources to do their jobs. Even after 20 years, I'm not still a big fan, right? So I don't eat knedliki, I don't eat the cabbage, but there are some good things, you know, pork knee or the soups are excellent.
This is Expat Episodes, when news stories begin. I'm Ian, your host, and I'll be guiding you through the stories of expats in the Czech Republic. All right, good morning, and we're here with Expat Episodes, and we're here today with Emmanuel from France. But you've got a long history here as well. So I'd first like to get an introduction. Tell me about yourself, where you're from, and how long you've actually been here in the Czech Republic.
Hello, so thanks for having me here. Yeah, as you said, I'm French. Now 55, but I've been living 35 years in France, which lives 20 years here, and 20 years in Czech Republic, but 20 years in Ostrava. So it's really Ostrava itself.
20 years just in this region?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back first. 20 years ago, I was here as well, quite a long time. What brought you from France, especially during those times? A lot of changes, a lot of things going on. So what brought you over to the Czech Republic?
Yeah, so the first time it was like, I was a manager of a factory in France and our new owners told us like, stop, we can't, complete or assemble computers in France because it's far too expensive. So we will, subcontract that to a subcontractor.
So it was a factory dealing with computers?
Yeah, it was assembling computers actually. Okay. And they said, okay, and this subcontractor will do 70% of the production in China because that's the least expensive. But for the high level computers, they will do that in Ostrava. And honestly, I was like, Ostrava, I didn't know the name. I didn't know where it is, in which country. Is it a river? Is it a region? Is it a city? Is it a village? No idea. And they sent me here like February 2005. And I came here, like I don't know if you remember, but it was that turboprop plane which was landing from Prague. Yeah. My gosh, it was full of snow everywhere. I thought like we would not land. Then the taxi was driving like crazy on the snow. And in my region in France, there is no snow. So for me, it was very like scary, I would say. Dropped me at the hotel and I went out and I saw the black snow because at that time it was really falling black snow because of the pollution.
Right.
And my first reflection the second day when I went to that factory, which I saw for the first time, and that would be our new, subcontractor, and that's the big factory in Hrabůvka. And the first reaction was like, oh my God, how those people can live here? Like, I would never do that, never. And I left with that 3 days. I checked the factory, everything was okay. I went back to France. And there my boss told me, okay, so when are you moving? And I was like, no, I'm not moving. Yes, you take your 5 best managers, their families, and you move for 1 year because you need to start the business there. And I was like, no, I'm not going to that city. That's not possible, right? And then I accepted to take my wife at least here for one week, and my kids at that time were very young, and to see the city where we could eventually live and what would be necessary. So we spent 1 week here, and we said, okay, eventually, but really for 1 year maximum, and that's it, right? And to go fast, so we moved I don't know, 4 months later, we really moved the family. We stayed 1 year, came back to France. But thereafter that 1 year, we kind of felt in love with people here. We started to have good friends, and at all levels, like myself at work, my wife with the connections with the kids, but also my kids. And the year before we were back in France, I was still commuting a bit because the business was still here. But I was still commuting only like 1 week per month. And I said to my kids, okay, and where do we go for holidays this year? You know, it was like Easter holidays. My wife was working. I said to the kids, where do you want to go for holidays? And they said to Ostrava. And I was like, you must be kidding. I was thinking like, I don't know, Spain, Greece, whatever. No, we go to Ostrava. And I said, okay, but that's not the same holidays here. So when you come to Ostrava, you won't see your friends anyway because they will be at school. So what you will do? We'll go at school. And they spent the week of holidays at school here because they had all those friends, those teachers, and a part of their life was here. So I used that time to go to the agencies, you know, recruiters, and finally 3 weeks later, somebody called me, a recruiter, and told me, you know, there is something in Karviná. They need a director for one factory if you want to come back, and we moved back again. And since that date, I'm here. Yeah.
What was the defining moment when you think you and your kids, like you said, you came and decided to, okay, we'll stay a month and try it, and then a year. Like, what were the things that changed your mind from this, as you said, black snow to dirty factory, the times at then, in that quick of a span? What changed your mind, even as a family or as a person doing this business?
No, exactly. You know what? We were moving here the first time in July. So July, August, we knew nobody. We were close at home. We were learning a few words in the language. Then the kids started school in September. Very quickly in November, we had a lot of snow, and in December we had 80 centimeters of snow, and that was this worst winter, you know, 2005-06. And actually, we didn't meet anybody, you know, during that period. And then came, I don't know, April, something like that, and a couple of friends or a couple of colleagues at that time told me, you know, we are going to the chata, to the cottage for the weekend. One František had birthday, so they said we'll grill sausages, we'll sleep all in one room. I mean, it's very friendly, no worries. Yeah. We will be, I don't know, 20 of us, and come. And we were like, okay, so most of them speak English, so probably we can manage the language. And we spent that weekend there. And at the end of that weekend, we said, okay, we have friends here. Because really that weekend was something special for us and was a kind of start. And then we started, you know, during the spring to have more friends, more connections, also at school with other parents. Then it started like that. And then the spring was very fast because at that time, my boss in May said, okay, end of June, it's finished and you come back to France, right? The project is finished, right? And I was like, okay, so I didn't want to come. Now that I don't want to leave, I need to leave. You know, at some point, it's like, okay. And then, yes, as I said, you know, then I was back in France, but commuting, still in contact here, still continuing to create these connections with people. And when you are here without the family the whole week, you know, it's like you've got more, you go a bit more out and use Stodolny as a good networking point.
Right, back when it was a bit more prominent than today.
At that time it was quite live.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then that was really the trigger for me.
Okay, did you get around the rest of the Czech Republic during that time? I mean, you had Ostrava, which at that time a lot more industrial. Now it's definitely cleaned up a lot, which is great. But didn't you get out to the other parts and go, oh, maybe South Moravia would have been better wine district, you know, or this, or closer to Prague or Český Ráj or something like that. Yeah. But with that here, yes, you made your friends. And I understand the concept of, it was the same for me. You go to the winter hata with friends and it's like, oh, this world is great. But what kept you still staying just here in Ostrava, particularly, or was it the job?
I mean, exactly. The first year it was very clear. I had a project here. The subcontractor was here in the city. For weekends, we were visiting a bit of Krakow, a bit of, you know, all the cities around. We are here extremely close to everything. So we've got Krakow, Warsaw, Bratislava, Vienna, even Berlin is only 5 hours from here. So for us, and Prague, for us it was like almost every weekend we were somewhere else, making a bit of tourism, but on our own, like just the family. And then when I came back, it was by chance, because I really said to the recruiters, okay, if you find something for me in Slovakia, in Hungary, in Czechia, or in Poland, I'm fine. What I would like is really Central Europe, and I'm interested in staying here. And it came by chance that it was like Karviná, right? And they found something for me in Karviná, and at that time we said with the family, okay, in that case we'll not live in Karviná, but the kids will come back to the international school, will be based in Ostrava, on the way to Karviná, like on the right side, but that's it. So the question was not like, would we live somewhere else? It's more like, I found a job here and I stayed here. And after the 10 years for that company in Karviná, or 11 years, there was no question anymore. I mean, like for me, I'm Ostravak, and I'm not like even thinking if I'm French or not. I'm first Ostravak with, yes, French roots, and I've been living in France. Still have a family in France, but I'm not asking myself where I'm from. I mean, I'm in Ostrava. Yeah.
With that in mind, how do you find the differences of living between the countries? Would you ever feel, I know you're Ostravak now, but would you ever go back to France? I know you now feel this disconnection. The same with myself in the US. I've been here for so long. So what are the differences you find between the countries and the living, the quality of life, what you do, as you said, now going out into the forests and mountains and things like that with friends, compared to your previous life in France? What are the major differences?
So I'm coming, I mean, from France, I'm coming from the city which is ranked #1 for the condition of living almost every year, right? So the best.
Where is this?
Angers, close to Nantes. And so a very nice city, very good conditions in terms of, or very good attractions, you know, sport, culture, big castle, a lot of tourism, 2 huge universities.
Not too far from the sea.
Yeah, 80 kilometers from the seaside. So you have, I would say, I thought that I had the best conditions to live, right? And then the shock was here, like if I compared that here where the city was like gray, if not black. And then I discovered quite quickly that what makes the difference is the speed of change, right? In France, I would say nothing changes anymore. If you want to change something, if you don't have 1 million people in the streets, you're lucky. But if you want to change something, everybody's complaining. No, we cannot do that, and this is ours, and we have that for years, and we're here. If you look at those 20 years from 2005 to 2025, the city is absolutely not the same city.
No.
And in terms of buildings which have been repainted, which are very colorful, in terms of the municipal areas, you know, all the squares, the official buildings, everything is completely different, but also in terms of, I would say, the activities, the support to people, the places where you can create. I've been for 2 years, you know, mentoring some startups and some non-profits. You've got areas like, I don't know, Impact Hub or now Club Core, those ones where you can really work together, create something, be supported. This was not there, you know, 20 years ago. So this change has made that today, I think that the life here is better than the life in France. At least that my life in France, which was very much based on, we have everything, it's fine, and that's it, right? And here it's like hard life, and people have had hard life here when it was heavy industry, you know, and this has completely changed after the bankruptcy of Vitkovice, and at once, you know, you've got 30,000 people who lose their job, and the city had to find something, and the conversion that the city has initiated for me was really very well done. So you've got now jobs for everybody, right? I mean, there is a level of unemployment which is almost zero, and I see it also as a manager, and I'm recruiting people regularly, so I can feel it. But this is really what I would see as a difference. And when you are asking me if I would go back to France now, no, I would not move to France. And honestly, I said to my boss, I don't know, I was in my new company or in Mondelez for a few, I think 1 year, 2 years, and he was saying, okay, we are preparing you as a successor for the manager in France so that you can go back to France. And I was saying like, no, I mean, no, you don't send me to North Korea, you don't send me to Russia, and you don't send me to France. That's quite easy for me, you know. And not because of France itself, but I know France. I have no interest to go there, right? I love it here. I'm planning to stay here. Honestly, if the company comes to me and say, okay, Manu, we've got a mission for you, I don't know, 5 years in India, in South America, okay, I will think about that. I'm not saying I will accept anything, but I would think about that because it's something different. France, no interest. And there are too many French people there.
Yeah, I got the same problem with USA, you know, so yeah, got the same issue there. All right, well, you touched on your business now. You're working with Mondelez.
Yes.
Just a general overview, kind of what do you do with them now that you've gone through these other companies, and now, how long have you been with them?
So Mondelez, I'm there 5.5 years. Mondelez is the big company, which the name is not that known, but all the brands are very well known. So you've got Oreo biscuits, you've got Cadbury or Milka chocolate, you've got, if we stay more in Czech, you've got all what is Opavia or Fidorka, and then in Slovakia you would find Figaro, or, you know, so in each country I would say we've got very strong brands. What I'm doing there, I'm leading the cluster of factories for Czech Republic, meaning that there are 3 factories in Czech Republic. One in Opava, which is the biggest biscuit factory in Europe from far.
I read up as well that they're kind of one of the most advanced technological factories for Mondelez in Europe, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, with the biggest investments which are coming to us, very much robotized, automatized, so that's very cool. And yes, 3rd biggest factory in the world, so it's really a monster here. 1,000 people in the factory, but as you say, very much automatized. So it's not like people putting manually the biscuits in the packs. It's more the people leading the automation and leading and loading the robots. The 2nd factory is in Lovosice, which is between Prague and Ústí nad Labem, so on the other side of the Czech Republic, where I have about 400 people doing tuk. You know, the tuk, probably the crackers, but we do also a lot of Belvita or Bebe Dobre Rano for Czech people and choco wafers. And then I've got a 3rd factory, which is the smallest one we have in Europe, which is Mariánské Lázně.
Well, that's kind of one of the oldest ones as well, isn't it?
I mean, the oldest one, if you look at the building, probably yes, but the oldest business is the one in Opava. The factory was in the city center and then has been moved 29 years ago to where it is now, but the business, we are celebrating 185 years of business in Opava this year, so that's quite cool. So yeah, leading those 3 factories, in total something like 1,500 people, and really focusing on, my job is like manufacturing, but my real job is to ensure that I have the right people and that they have the right resources to do their job, so that's nothing else.
Our guest last month, Russell, he's starting up kind of a business academy thing in Novičin. And he mentioned something which I'd like to ask you about. He's starting up this thing because he feels that in English or Western cultures, especially from the UK and stuff, there's a very different way of doing business between like how the Czechs do it or Central Europeans. And there's being in this business and speaking to the people and coming from France and dealing with other international companies. I think the first one you worked to here was Chinese or something, or
the
one factory.
Subcontractor was Chinese, but yes.
So you've worked with all these different ones.
Yeah.
What kind of difference do you find in kind of this attitude of Czech business people and workers from all levels compared to, like, say, from France or China or whatever? Do you see a difference, and do you feel that that has been changing over the years? Are they becoming more open internationally, or?
Yeah, I mean, business, I'm not doing business, so I'm managing the factory only and doing the business in terms of, you know, sales, marketing, and so on, which is left to another part of the company. But working with people here, it's been very different 20 years ago. So when I came here 20 years ago, the way of managing the people, the expectations from the workers, their engagement or more non-engagement for the company, that was very strong. So they didn't care. You know, I'm working here and I'm just working here so that I have my salary, but you know, that's it. Um, Today, I feel that very different. I feel that at the same level than you would have in France or, I don't know, UK, but the different, even different businesses or factories that I've been able to visit over the last 20 years, I would not see differences here, but I have to say, I'm working in a corporate, which is a big, 80,000 corporate company, which is having a tendency to spread the same culture all over the countries. I guess that you would not find exactly the same in Mondelez India or in Mondelez, America. But anyway, we are very much using the same management tools, the same, even continuous improvement tools for the people. So we are expecting the same, and I would say today we have the same. So today it's not anymore that different. Yeah.
Living here now that you're here this long, what kind of recommendations would you give to people that are new to the area and stuff? Not in the sense of just like business or work, but if someone was coming in here, what would you recommend to say like, to promote this region area, like, go see Lisahora or anywhere around, or go visit Vitkovica, something like this. What kind of things that you see that kind of like, this is what, if you're going to come to Ostrava, you have to see this.
And you just said it. Come on.
Okay, I kind of ruined that. So Vitkovica, but there's got to be more.
I'll tell you what I love. It's like, I love Vitkovice. I love like Dolny Oblast Vitkovice, that place. I love it for the actions that they are doing, and I need to be every year at Colors because that's, I feel at home there. But I'm regularly going to conferences in Gong or to the cinema there. So this old place, the fact that we kept the history, that we kept the architecture of the old one, but that we mix it with new activities, the Museum of Science, and this is the thing which I love. I don't want to forget what happened, but at the same time we need to go forward, right? So I love Vitkovice, or the Dove we say, for that. I'm not that much, the guy who would go in the mountains and climb Lisahora every week. I like to do it when we have the occasion to go with friends, but I'm not that fan.
Do you still get to go to hatas from time to time and meet up with friends?
Yeah, I mean, this can happen. I'm more like a city guy, right? So I like the city here. I like good food, so I would not miss an evening in La Petite Conversation or in Rogofogo, or you've got a few places like that. I like different food, different cultures, so I like to jump in an Indian one. I like to Pelmeshki, which is also here in the center. I'm lucky that I understand Czech enough to also be able to attend some cultural events. So I like Divadlo, which is for me something very important in my heart. I like that, but I'm also going to the other, theaters. And I like when there is an action, an activity in the city. When there is an action on the main square, I'm trying to go. When there is something on the park, I mean, I'm living on Komenského Sady, just there. So it's quite like we open the window and we say that there is something. We go out and we see, what's happening. I like those activities where there are people. Zajit Ostrava Jinak, which was also an activity like a few weeks ago, where the people from Ostrava Center meet together and as neighbors, the kind of bond there. I like that because I can't go to these kind of actions without meeting at least 10 friends, and that's what I like. Yeah.
I was just in to Lepico just before for a coffee, and I was like, "Oh, you're talking to Manu today," so everybody, people already know you. But one big difference now: how do you deal with this being a French person? I like smažený sir, but this just doesn't hold a candle to good French cheese. What about the cuisine? How are you dealing with a Czech cuisine? It's definitely a different thing than French.
Yeah, the purely Czech cuisine, even after 20 years, I'm not still a big fan, right? So I don't eat knedlíky, I don't eat the cabbage like zeli, I don't eat a few things like that. But there are some good things, you know, pork knee or the soups are excellent. So there are good things. I'm quite difficult when it comes to the food because I'm coming from France. David knows it in La Peco, so I'm always asking, okay, this one, but without this and with that, and you know. 20 years ago, I would say it was more difficult because you didn't have that international food. You know, you didn't have an Indian restaurant plus a Mexican one plus the Belgium French one, or
And of course, the idea here 20 years ago of a side salad being one tomato and a piece of lettuce
exactly
has changed a lot. So.
And svichkova, which you know I cannot even look at that. That's for me. It's like no. This is a mix that doesn't exist. So for the food, you know. We cook a bit at home, but not that much because we don't have that much time. And I'm ordering like very often things, or going to the restaurant, or just like going to a cafe to have something light. But today, the choice that we have in Ostrava is very wide, and I would not miss anything. My daughter lives in Prague, for example, and when she's going back or coming back to Ostrava, she's saying, you know, you find everything that we find in Prague, that there is no difference, right? Quantity is different, but...
Yeah, and price as well. Does this carry over into drinks as well? Do you drink? I mean, are you a fan of the Czech beer? And also, another comparison between like Moravian wines compared to French, I know.
Then I will stop you immediately. I don't drink alcohol.
Okay.
So no beers, no wine. I've been drinking at some time, but for a few years I'm not drinking. I've never been a big drinker of wine. I've never been drinking really beer, like only those beers without alcohol, with fruits and so on, which Czech already say it's not beer anymore.
But they are getting so much better with it now.
Yeah.
That's amazing compared to, even if you go across the border to Poland, their level of non-alcoholic beer is like, But here, I think I've recently had one that goes, wow, this is almost the same. So.
No, that's true. But no, I mean, I'm not a big fan of wine or beer, so I cannot compare.
Okay, so how did you manage coming over here, especially 20 years ago, when you wouldn't drink the water in Ostrava 20 years ago? It had to be a beer.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was drinking more like those, I don't know, mix of vodka with some energy drink, or, you know, those kind of things. I was drinking different alcohol. I used to say I was drinking Všetkovice, like, you know, you've got Slivovice, Merunkovice, and so it was like Všetkovice, which means like everything more.
Every kind of ovice you can possibly put.
But no, I mean, for a few years already, no alcohol. So.
Then the kind of last subject I wanted to get to before we kind of close out a bit. I saw something you do which is very much impressed me, and I love to follow this, and I would like to learn more about it myself. I don't know if you still do it, but you seem to do something with what was called the food not bombs. Okay. Something with this for feeding the homeless. Could you please tell me about it and what it means? And are you still involved with doing this?
So Food Not Bombs, that's an international way of distributing food to homeless. We are not part of Food Not Bombs, but Food Not Bombs has been distributing in front of a train station every Sunday for homeless people, some food, some clothes, warm clothes, making collections of blankets and sleeping bags. We are not connected to them, but we are with them distributing also. Right. So with my wife, we are buying fruits, we are collecting also things, underwear and, you know, sleeping bags, tents around our friends, and then we distribute with them. So we are like Food Not Bomb is coming with the soup, we are coming with the fruits and with the biscuits, and then we do that. Working with homeless people, we don't do only that, we do the igloo also, I don't know if you saw that, which is emergency shelter for homeless people, yes. Which the homeless people hide inside, and then their body warmth is warming the inside of the igloo. And then they get 15 to 20 degrees more inside than outside. So you can imagine you sleep outside -10, you would not sleep outside -10. And people get frostbites, and some people die. And we do those igloos, which we still produce in Czech Republic. Now we don't produce it by ourselves anymore, but at the beginning we started to produce it in our flat, and now we sell it to about, I think it's 11 countries now in the world. So you would find some in US, in Canada, and many countries in Europe. So yeah, we do those igloos, which are more like our evening and weekends activities during the winter period, like autumn and winter period. And yes, we continue to distribute food every second Sunday, and now every Sunday during the winter at that train station. Yeah.
Through the years, you've been doing this for quite a while now, I guess. Yeah. How are you finding the level of this with homeless? Getting better, getting less, increasing, decreasing? How have you seen the changes in that over the past few years?
The statistics are saying that the population of homeless is increasing, right? We are doing that for 7 years, so meaning that we started before the COVID, like 2018. I have to say that for us, it's been growing the population all along the years. Like we got more and more every Sunday. At the same time, you know, it's also the word of mouth. Like the people were telling to each other, yeah, you know, we can get some good food and some hot food at that train station on Sunday. So we don't know if we have double the number of people coming because there is double of homeless people in the city, or because they know more about what we are doing. Okay. Now we see a bit more families, like which in the past we saw, I would say, mainly men of a certain age. Right. You know, now we see very young people. We see families, like couples, or sometimes couples with children, and yeah, it's evolving in that direction. Yeah. More families, probably.
But I've seen, at least my experience in the people I know, of course, my bubble of people, usually been quite helpful in trying to help with, whether it's with homeless or animal shelters or something like this. Do you find the Czechs being very, even though they're kind of stuck in their own, especially the older generation, but I still find them, you know, maybe reluctantly still helping. It's like, oh, we don't do that, but they do. Do you find that the Czechs are quite open and helpful doing this, or is it still kind of a, oh, that's different, no?
I mean, for homeless people, it's a very hard thing, because you've got, I mean, let's say openly, there is a kind of racism in Czech, which is embedded in all the population, and which is like, you know, Roma people need to be taken out of the population, and they are not part of us. And you've got quite a few of those homeless people who are Roma, but also the homeless people, you know, they smell bad, they are always drinking, it's full of drugs, you know, and they, yeah. So helping the homeless people is something that not a lot of people would do. Now, as you say, I think the volunteering programs are very much also about, I don't know, animal shelters, or for the kids, doing some camps for the kids in summer, or helping at Dom Senior, you know, like elderly people. So there is a lot that people can do. What we've been doing at Mondelez is that we've been creating a voluntary program. Like each and every employee can choose, and we'll give a list of voluntary things that they can do, you know, which is usually about 1 full day of help of a non-profit somewhere else. And each and every employee can use 1 day paid by the company, paid by us, to be helping somewhere else. And to answer your question, I don't feel that there is a big, like, yes, you know, it's paid, I can do it very easily, I'm going immediately and I'm collecting, you know, 1-2 colleagues and we go together. There is something happening, so it's new program, I think it's not even 1 year, we started at the beginning of this year. It starts to move a bit, but it's not like, you know, tens or hundreds of people would be naturally saying, yes, I will help the others.
But still, it's a good thing that you are part of this and doing this, and I think it brings people's attention to it, which is a human issue. We all kind of look the other way, so it's very nice to bring this.
Yeah.
All right, some of the last ones is now, how did you get involved with the Ostrava Expat Center? How do you know these people? Because a few of them were like, "Oh, you have to speak to Manu. He's a great guy."
Honestly, I'm not like connected with the expat center. I'm not very much, or I've never been at any big actions. I think once at the anniversary, but that's it. But I know the Ostrava expat center even since before it existed, before it's been created, because at that time I was working, or I was more in connection with the MSITs. So, and Alena, who was working at MSITs and creating the Opava Expat Center, asked me for a few things and a few advices, or she wanted to have my opinion as an expat. So I knew already before it will exist that it will exist, and I had already a few connections with that. It's more like I know quite a few friends who are doing something here sometimes, but I don't have direct connections, and because I think that after these years I don't need the services to expats, right? Now like living locally, yeah, exactly. I understand Czech. I can make my full life here without any problem. Now with Alena, we are discussing also about eventually offering some jobs or making some connections, so that we offer more to expats. But yeah, that's my connection.
And what advice would you have to other expats, especially newer ones in the region, to make life a little easier for them in Ostrava?
I think there are two things, and I was saying that recently also in another podcast. It's like the first one is don't give up. Like the first time, first months, the first year might be difficult sometimes, but don't give up. It's really a great bunch of people here, a very good culture, and a very, when you go through the shield of the people, like, you don't get inside them at the first glance, but when you start to really make some friends, you will have very, very good friends. The second thing is, like, if you plan to live here, learn the language. And I'm not saying learn the language like be fluent, and I'm lucky my wife is Czech, so we are speaking every day since already 10 years in Czech, but make the effort of learning a minimum of the language, because Czech is is a language which is used only by 10.5 million people, right? Or 10 million people. So in fact, nobody is learning Czech. Like you go to France or to UK, you don't have a university which would propose to learn Czech, right? So when Czech people see that you are making the effort of learning Czech, they start to integrate you. They start to say, okay, that guy wants really to live here, wants to connect with us, to take the time to make the effort for us. And I think those are the two recommendations I would do.
They definitely show an appreciation that you are trying for, as you said, a language that only they speak.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right, to close out, as you saw in the things, I usually have one or two stranger, more lighthearted questions. But these are going to be more focused on you. Like, you joked with me ahead of time whether tea or coffee, but no.
Okay.
All right. Since you work in this kind of business, dark or white chocolate?
White. It's not chocolate, I know. Everybody will tell me that, but white, yes.
I completely agree with you. I had a huge fight in Olomouc with the previous owner of a hostel I used to end up taking over, and he always went for one restaurant for a chocolate cake. And I'm like, no, but they're white chocolate better. He's like, no, that's not chocolate.
It's not chocolate.
It's not chocolate. All right, and now as an expert in this, being with Mandalez, what is the correct way to eat an Oreo?
The correct way to eat an Oreo.
The official way to eat an Oreo.
Oh my gosh. The correct way is to have fun with it, right? So Oreo is a fun biscuit, and you need to have fun with it. I don't know. I mean, we joke these days that we take it, we make a bet, like if it's the cream is staying on the left side, I do that, or on the right side, I do that.
Kind of like with a wishbone.
Twist it, twist it, and then the cream is on the left or on the right. You can dunk it also. We like to dunk it in some glass of milk, which is not for the vegan people, because you know that Oreo is vegan, which not a lot of people know. But so you don't put that in milk for vegan, but for the other ones you can. Yeah, it's very good taste, the mix like that.
And probably my last Oreo-related question is, what has been, through your time with the company, what has been one of the weirdest, strangest flavors they've ever done with the Oreos? I know they've done some mini experimental ones. Some last, some go away, like whether it's been pistachio filled or whatever. So During your time, what has been the strangest?
Difficult to say because in our factory in Opava, we do only the big series, and the big series is only no flavor.
Ah, okay.
Right? So I've got only the white cream, and that's it.
Okay.
Now I've been testing a couple of ones in China and the ones made in Spain. I don't know. I heard that they are doing matcha, which was strange to me. I'm not eating matcha also. So that might be one, yeah. What was funny in China is that not only they do the flavors, but they do double flavor inside. So you've got the round cream, you've got a part which is green and a part which is pink, and you say, okay. So
well, that kind of ruins the whole split apart there.
Not that much for Europe, probably.
Right. Thank you so much, Manu, for joining us and having a chat with us and taking some time out of your busy day, because I know you're a very busy person.
Thanks a lot for inviting me and for that very nice conversation.
No problem. And thank you from the Ostrava Expat Center as well. And if any of you out there have a story that you want to tell us and you got some ideas, get in contact with us. We'd love to hear from you and maybe have you on the podcast as well. See you next time. This podcast is proudly brought to you by Ostrava Expat Center.